What's up, everybody? You're listening to Supercar Stories, the fast business podcast. My name's Ian McLean. I'm sitting here with Craig Johnston from TCLH. How you going, Craig?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate.
Right.
Can't complain. We've got Higgsy on the line as well.
Hey
Mr.
guys,
Higgsy.
thanks for having me back. It's beautiful to be here.
Yeah, as always. And then we've got Mr. Beckett over in the corner there. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. He pretends like he's not here every day.
I know.
It's
It's a
good,
shame
so
I am
good
here.
to be back.
Yeah, it feels like I live here at the moment.
12 hours later.
Yeah.
No, cool. So yeah, it's good to have you on the potty, Craig.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, mate. We've been mates for a while now and gone on a few cruises, and I've been keen to share your story. So it's a pretty crazy one. It's been inspirational to watch what you've been able to do with TCLH and everything else that you're setting up. So yeah, the idea of the podcast is basically nice car in the background there. If anyone is watching on YouTube, you should be able to see Craig's car in the background there. It's a beautiful gleaming white Audi R8. It's faster than mine, unfortunately, as much as I hate to admit it. But yeah, the potty's basically nice car. How did you achieve it, and where did the passion come from, and what's your story behind the car, basically? So do you want to reel it back a few years and give us a bit of a rundown on how it all started and how your business journey went, and then eventually how you got into the driver's seat?
Yeah, right. Okay. How long have you got?
We've got 20 minutes. That's it.
Yeah. Well, we've
right.
actually got Pete off camera as well, so he's
Okay.
going to tag in for me if we go too
right.
long. So
Sounds like a pitch deck.
No,
Right, let's go.
as long as it takes.
as long as it
Okay.
takes,
Well,
mate.
But no longer than 60 minutes.
okay. So yeah, born and bred in Sydney, Northern Beaches boy. Moved up to mid North Coast when I was about 12 years old. Family farm. Started my first business when I was 10 years old. So started off, I saw a gap in the market. There was people in the neighbourhood who had heaps of gardens. I brought some cattle with the family. Started, picking up cow shit pretty much, selling it. There was a couple of people up the road who were doing the same thing. And then
So
obviously
competition was fierce. In
no,
the
it was
neighborhood.
harsh. And then so this is going back early days, I suppose, early business. And my first sort of marketing strategy was to undercut them all by 50 cents a bag. And then I'd just go up and put signs up the street in like spray painted wood. And then I got to a point, I had so many customers, right? I'd hire my brother and his friends after school to come collect bags. I got to a point, I had 5 acres, so I had to buy more cows. I figured out like the recipe to feed the cows because the manure was so good. These people were just coming back to like repeat business.
You're kidding.
Yeah,
How
wow.
old were you?
I was 10.
No
it.
way.
Yeah, yes. And then I built up, all this cash, and then I had to like pitch to my dad, hey dad, I think we need a bigger property because
We need 10
we're
acres.
expanding. Yeah, so we then went from 5 acres to 260 acres.
Wow.
And then I started scaling that business to 12. Anyway, I sold that because it was just too labor intensive.
Yep.
Next one was high school. So I was 12 years, 13.
Just pause on
hang on,
that.
let's go
Hang on a
back a
second.
That
little
was
bit.
like
Yeah.
Like 10 years old, and you've scaled from 5 acres to over 200 acres.
yeah.
And you sold that business?
So, sold that, yeah, for cash. And then the next one when I was 13, I was outside school. My dad and family, I grew up in the motor industry, so that's probably where from young age, my dad and his family are in sales, so he had car dealerships in Sydney. So when I was a kid playing, toy cars and everything, I was under his table listening to him do deals. So sales has been always, it's in my blood. I've grown up, with sales and cars, motor industry. And so anyway, I just, I was working for dad for a bit as a kid washing cars, and I was like, you know what? Heaps of people, saw all these dirty cars. So I just went around and just started dropping my name and number to all these letterboxes, grabbed a telephone book, borrowed $5 or $10 off mum and dad for something, or a bucket and whatever it was, chamois, and just started doing a cleaning business after school. I got to a point where I was super busy. I just started outsourcing to all my mates. And then I got to a point I was so busy, I had to like call in sick for school because I was just so busy doing that business at 13. I ended up selling that business after I think 3 or 4 months for like $2,000 cash outside school. And I got suspended for that too, which is pretty funny. Anyway, that's like going back.
You're not allowed to succeed.
Exactly
So I
right.
was like-
Your social science teacher's been like, this guy.
Yeah,
This-
yeah,
what-
yeah.
nah.
He's not being indoctrinated yet.
No, so that was early days. I suppose my real career when I was about 16, getting into a chef apprenticeship. Always had a passion for cooking, loved to cook. So I started off that, worked my way through fine dining, hotels, pubs. Started that in a place called Foster Tongue Curry, moved down to Newcastle, then Sydney, where I qualified. I was the youngest head chef in Australia for Intercontinental Hotels Group.
Wow.
So I was 19, just turned 20. So I was pretty stoked with that. Did a bit of travelling, did private chefing in the Hunter Valley Vineyards. Did a bit of cooking for the Prime Minister Julia Gillard.
Wow.
A few like influential people there, like bands and that sort of thing. So that was like the highlight of my career, I reckon, for there. And 21, I got a call off a mate who just started a business in the mining sector. He's like, "Oh, hey mate, I've just started a business. Do you want to come help cook for me?" I was in the oil and gas industry, so I jumped on that, packed all my stuff in where I was going, and moved to the Gold Coast. Did not have a clue what I was doing, so I was 21, doing FIFO. Did that for a few years, and fast forward to I suppose 2015. We had I was a supervisor on an oil rig. Had a great job. I was set, I reckon, for life. 10, 12 year contract, whatever it was. Oil dropped from like $77 a barrel to $21 overnight. That was 2014, 15. I lost my job with thousands of other people. Super sad. All in the space of 3 months, I got married. Lost my job, just bought a house, and had a huge motorbike crash, nearly killed myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So had like compression on my spine, all sorts of stuff from dirt bike motocross racing.
Wow. So you couldn't work even if you wanted to?
Yeah, I remember laying there like full, just like a vegetable, couldn't feel my legs or anything. And I was lucky, I was still alive. My neck brace saved me. It was carbon fiber neck brace. So that saved me. And
The importance of safety gear.
yeah, man. Yeah. And the doctor was like, "Oh, what do you like doing? You should probably give this up, do something else." I was like, "Oh, I like cooking, He goes, "Oh, maybe do something in that field." So I just reflected on the whole thing that happened and went home and started writing a business plan because I couldn't write. My whole arm was fucked. So I started writing out a business plan with my left arm, learned how to write with my left hand. And 2 days later I came home with an invoice book and some stuff. I said, "Lucy, I'm starting a fucking business." And that was TCLH. And
wow.
$55 in the bank. And had no money either.
Yep.
Literally got down to nothing. Lucy was working while I was off. And started off doing like temp chef work around the coast. From pubs, clubs, surf clubs, just pimping myself out. Pretty much we were pimping myself and chefs out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So
Yeah. We've got the website up there for the YouTube viewers if you want to take a quick look at Craig's website. Sorry to jump in there, man.
no, that's okay. So that's so now I suppose 8 years on, we're multi-million-dollar company, employ over 100 staff across the country, and working with some of the biggest companies in the world, doing catering, labour hire, and providing mining camps. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind, that sort of area.
That's unreal.
It's a tough industry, the mining sector.
Well, all the odds were against us. Hey, everyone, family, friends, they were like, "Mate, you're crazy. You're stupid." I was like, "No, I need some red hot crack." So I think we saw a gap in the market, jumped onto it at the lowest point. I think anyone would say perfect time to start a business is in the downfall. Probably some people would question that, but we just went all out. So start off with zero capital, zero investment, and here we are today. So it's been a pretty big journey, and obviously got extremely long way to go still, but learnt lots, and
Yeah, that's sick. And then so where did the car thing come from? Like, were you always a car guy? Or?
Yeah, always been the cars, man. I've just loved cars all my life. Had all sorts of cars.
That stemmed from the days when you were underneath the dad's table when he was doing...
Pretty much, man. Selling
Okay.
like the old Monaros and Commodores.
Cool.
I've had a couple of VL Commodores.
Yeah. So you like your old school Aussie muscle then?
Love that.
Okay.
Always liked sports cars. I had a goal. I had like a huge goal when I turned 30. I wanted to buy a supercar. It didn't matter what it was, Lamborghini, Audi, Ferrari, whatever. I just wanted one. That was a big ticket thing, big on my bucket list. So going back to the Audi, so I'm trying to think when that was last year, 2021, sorry. Yeah. Picked that up. It was about August, September time. This is a good story, by the way. I think you guys will like this.
Yeah, I know the story, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's
I'll just
still,
pull it a bit closer to you.
Absolutely.
cheers. I picked it up, did all my checks, took it to like mechanics, Audi, did all at my due diligence in buying a $200,000 supercar, right?
Kick the tyres.
Did all that. Picked it up the next day, took the missus down to Hedges Avenue. There's a cafe, Biscuit Basket, I think it is.
Yeah, Biscuit, yeah.
It was 5:30 sunrise. I was super stoked, on top of the world. had coffee, driving out the satellites at Broadbeach, and I heard this like massive bang. And I was like, oh, fuck, the exhaust must have fallen off. So I've driven over, the engine lights popped up, and I've just turned the car off straight away, got it towed down to a European mechanic. Long story short, it sat there for 3 weeks, and I found out after extensive tests that, the 8th cylinder or 7th dropped, or the piston dropped into the cylinder. It exploded, shattered, and the whole engine was just...
You're kidding. At
cooked.
idle.
Yeah, doing about 30K. So...
Wow.
Now I've seen this engine, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to get turned into a coffee table. But
think so, probably.
Expensive one.
The damage that was done was mind-boggling.
Yeah, so, and like I jumped on the forum. Actually, long story short, I wouldn't be here, I just might say, to meet you guys if Lucy, my wife, actually, shout out to her. Because when it happened, I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. I was super vulnerable. And she's like, jump on a forum on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I jumped onto the Audi Australia forum. Actually, Ian, I did reach down. Ian reached out. He's like, oh, hey, mate, started chatting. That's how I actually met Ian
Yeah.
for his forum. So if it wasn't for my car to, I know as shit as it was, but, sometimes we need these things to happen in life for us to, flourish and bloom. And so, jumped on the Facebook group. People from Audi all around the world reached out. So long story short, Audi...
It went viral, eh?
It went
semi-viral
viral,
in that group, yeah.
Yeah, like I had like law cases going for like 9 months, 12 months, all this stuff. And then long story short, Audi just approached and was like, we want to help you out. Because they did the original test, but they didn't do a compression test on the engine.
Yep.
Which I thought they would. But anyway, so they organised a whole engine from Germany, shipped over brand new, did it all at cost. So I was out of pocket by a little bit, but I mean, it's one of those things. I'm glad it happened when it did, not like a year later. So, moral of the story is, I think I jumped into that situation. I was, acted probably on a bit of emotion by my first car, and but then again, the thing that happened was a freak.
That's not normal.
1 in a million, apparently. The mechanics in Germany at Audi and Volkswagen were saying, like, these cars are built to be like flogged in a racetrack.
Beat on them all day, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where that went. And man, I love it. Like, cruising over you guys and a little ball squeezer. And I got my eyes on a couple other cars. So
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Coupes?
Sorry?
Coupes?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mid-engine?
Probably hybrid. There's a hybrid one I'm looking at the moment.
yeah.
So,
So he's going to be fast.
I'm thinking Porsche.
maybe.
Exactly
Taycan,
right.
yeah.
the new Aventador looks good.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
Yeah. The new
Actually, we had what was his name? Who did we have in last week? Jeff. Sorry.
Jeff,
it's been a long week.
Yeah.
We had Jeff in, and he's got a pretty cool Lambo on order.
Yep.
I think he's picking up the next a few months, something like that.
I think he's.
He put that at
next
public
year.
on the last podcast, eh? He did, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the off-road one.
Yeah.
The
Stop it.
Starada.
Yeah.
I think
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he said it's like the only one coming to the country or something.
Wow.
One of
One of
two or
s-
something, yeah.
Like super low
Real
numbers.
low numbers,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're not making many, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Is it an SUV or sedan?
No.
No, it's like it's a Huracan.
Hurricane,
Off-road.
but off-road, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like
Like
pumped,
hard tyres.
pumped flares, raised suspension, light bars on the front of the bonnet. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have to get a mind spec one.
It's like
If we-
Subaru Forester on
the safety
roids.
lights
if
on.
we can,
Wow.
if we can get a pickup, we will in a second. But
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
Rob
cool.
might
I'd
be
love
able
to
to get it
see
up,
it.
actually.
Looks like-
Yeah.
The
they're
Lamborghini
unreal.
Is he
Storado.
actually going to take it off-road?
Knowing Jeff, probably.
Well, he's a lunatic, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
He loves to drive. So we saw some footage of him out in the snow. A Lamborghini invited him out to a couple of day test and
Yep.
that
testing
was
on new
Italy,
cars
mind you.
in Italy.
Yeah, in
And
January.
he knows how to drive, so I have no doubt in my mind he'll be out
That's the one.
doing that.
Wow.
That's the
That
one.
looks so mean.
Yeah.
So-
Super cool.
Hectic.
Is that him driving?
No.
That's
That will be him
That's
driving.
just stock imagery, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
So,
Oh,
well,
nice.
without jumping too far into that, you don't have to tell us what you got, but there's a hint there. There's something else on the way. Is there? Is that to replace the Audi, or is that going to stay here? Or
I don't think I'll ever sell that Audi. I think
Nah.
it's quite sentimental, right?
That's
I
right.
think it's
Yeah.
It's got a story.
Yeah.
See that?
I'm the same, man. Like,
You know what?
that thing's getting older, and I'm like worried about it breaking down, especially after hearing what happened with yours. But
Yep.
I honestly don't think I'd ever
No, I
ever
think
want to let it go, eh?
yeah. After what I've been through, it's like buying your first house, or it's something
Yeah.
like it's special. It's
Yep.
it's one of those things. I want to be able to look back in like 20, 30 years, be like, there's a story for that. There's
Yeah.
a story
Yeah.
for that.
And that you're sitting in one of my stories. I've got
Yeah.
one of the cars that I built up with my dad.
Yeah.
We're pretty much on the same mindset there, except for Mr. Higgs.
What, you're a hoarder?
He tends to think that I'm a car hoarder. And he has some valid points. They don't all run all the time.
We
but
had
they-
a good old vlog yesterday
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this, and I can't wait to show that.
Yeah.
But,
You say vlog or vlog?
vlog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yes, potato, mate. You tell me how you want to say
It's
it.
all about interpretation.
Yeah. But if Matt had his way in my shed, he'd sell
It'd be
everything.
empty.
He'd have nothing here to talk about.
Yeah.
So
A fat
that's
wallet.
cool. It's cool that you're in the same sort of boat.
I think so, man. And also, like just being super, I suppose, showing gratitude of how far we've come. I think coming from nothing as well, and being quite like self-made to where I'm today and where I'm going, you really appreciate those things, and it showcases hard work, right? And it's sort of like a piece of, it motivates me, this stuff. Like
Yep.
when I jump in it, it's like, I'm coming here, I'm going to work. Like it's all intentional
Yeah.
with certain things. And I love that about these supercars and the guys like I met, all like-minded. We're all, going places. We're super, I know everyone's just great people. Like,
Yeah.
there's-
And you know what's weird? Like the supercars have got such a stigma around them for the general public.
Yep.
People think, oh, these guys are, buying them to increase the size of their, like trying to puff the chest out, trying to look cool, but it's really not that.
The,
It's
the ones who say that are the ones who don't have cars, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean,
Not that I've seen
the
any of my
attitude.
mates crying in any supercar about it.
I mean, hey, like I had a Ford Festiva once for like a couple of years, right? This is actually just relevant. I mean, someone said to me, it's like, oh, would you rather be like driving home from a hard day or crying? I'd rather be crying in a supercar than crying in a Ford Festiva.
100%.
I know that sounds probably a bit wankerish, but I mean,
That's
I
the
think-
truth of it.
And that's it. And the fact we can afford it, we love it. We're passionate.
Yeah.
It's
There is some people that are buying cars to be show-offs, and that's absolutely fine. But for the most part, the people that we come across in our group, they're all entrepreneurs and we're all
Yeah.
like-minded. Like we've known each other for a little while now, and automatically click. We've been in the same position. We're just talking before the podcast, and I'm dealing with things that you've dealt with in the past. It's completely separate industries and different different business, but it's the same principles.
Dude, totally, man. Especially in business, there's always a struggle, right? No matter what. As long as you're waking up, I suppose, wanting to succeed and have motivation and going to sleep, feeling accomplished. I think that's important, and adding value and giving back to community. I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
Doing things bigger than you. I think that's
Yeah.
super.
And the limiting
That's what I'm
belief
learning.
there is like the limiting belief there for the people that do have that like tall poppy syndrome of like, oh fuck, that guy, he's just showing off in his supercar or whatever,
Yep.
That's keeping people small, man. Like that's my belief anyway. Is like, whether I see people who have just started the journey or people who are a million steps ahead of me, like Andy or Pete or Jeff, who we had on the podcast the other day, I'm clapping for everyone. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Whether they're doing whether they have 100 times my bank account or 100 times less, you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like
Yep.
that kind of tall poppy thing holds people back, I reckon. And
Yeah.
that's something
Massively.
that people can really learn from people in these communities that we're sort of toying around in, is that, everyone's clapping for each other.
Yep.
And that's the reason why everyone's winning and everyone has motivation,
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like we've worked together.
Yep.
You came past one day and I was like, oh man, I really am trying to get into this particular company. Like
Yep.
2 seconds, then we make a phone call, boom, job done.
It's
And like,
looking after one another.
Yeah.
and,
Absolutely.
Yeah, wanting each other to
Everyone to
succeed,
succeed.
especially your mates. So,
Yeah. I think it's a
Totally.
lot easier to knock people down than it is to build them up. And most
Yep.
people just choose the easy route.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why most people don't own cars like this,
Yep.
which is, it is what it is. It's,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is a lot like I look at that. It's like it's been a long time to like, especially I suppose others you guys appreciate. It's a long time coming to get something like that. It's like it's like buying your first house or buying whatever it is. There's always a story to tell and
there's like at least 10 years in for me anyway, of like setting goals and planning and working with shit to
Yep.
buy that car, like that's a big
yeah.
deal.
And I suppose never judging a book by its cover. I think that's important, right?
Yep.
Seeing some dude drive past in a really fast car. I mean, like you don't know where that person's come from or their story or what. So
Yeah.
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 Hey,
And
Rob.
that's-
Rob posed a real good question to me earlier, and he said it might be something worth talking about and something that's very topical for everyone in this room and everyone that we've been getting involved in recording these videos and the podcast is like the mental health aspect of entrepreneurship, like how, like just to get your take on it, really like how you manage your own mental health, how you manage a scaling businesses, employee profiles, mental health. Like, you said you've nearly got 100 employees now. Like, that's a lot of people to manage in terms of keeping them in a good mindset and doing the things that you feel like you should be doing to support them. So yeah, keen to hear your take on like mental health in entrepreneurship and business, and also how you implement that in your business.
Good question. I think, I'll put my hand up to say in the early days, I always put everyone first. Besides me, I was like, I've always had the mentality of like eating last, feeding myself last, especially in the business. And then what I've done, and that takes a toll, right? It's not sustainable. So I was going a good probably 4 or 5 years of just working huge hours, like not sleeping, just hustling.
Yep.
I had to do what I had to do then to get where we are. And I think having that vision and having people around you to support you and believe in you, that kept me going. Especially Lucy, my wife, she was there. Yeah, she was everyone else was like, what the fuck are you doing? So I think being just relentlessly pursuing on your passion and your vision. Going back to mental health, I mean, we've a few strategies we've implemented in our business. Like we partner with Livin, the mental health suicide awareness guys. That was a really good thing. About 2-3 years ago, partnered with them. So we doing a fair few programs around sort of breakout sessions for the field staff on linking up via I think it's like a Teams or Zooms chat. Felt leaderships I think is important. So I go out to my team as much as I can and just check in on a personal level. Hey mate, how you guys going? Put work aside. Let's talk shop. So I think that's really important. Just having that personal approach to your team. I think having my team support me is super important. But then, I've always learned, a good friend of mine, actually, Craig Haywood, doctor of chiropractic, I'll give him a shout out. He's been by my side for years. Like I went through a pretty rough patch probably about 4 years ago. I was like suicidal. I just wanted to like end everything. It got too hard. And he supported me, helped me pull through. And I think just knowing it's okay here. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. And being super vulnerable around your mates and family. And that's okay. I think as men, so as we can appreciate sometimes there's like a stigma there of, you're not a tough guy if, showing your emotions. I've learnt that. And I tell my team that as well in the office, if you guys aren't okay, it's okay. Like, let's talk, take the day off, go do you,
Yep.
Because if we're not right in here, the rest of everything else in our life is not going to be all right. So I think health comes within. I've definitely learned that. Looking after yourself, just having a day or a time, whatever it is, just to switch off and do your thing. Go for a drive, go to the beach.
Absolutely.
Go play the PlayStation. All these little strategies I do just to switch off, and then just put my brain into fucking 1,000 times mode to keep going. I think
you need that break as a reset button.
Yep.
Whether it's a quick round of golf,
Yep.
quick strap on the jet ski, something like that.
Yep.
Because then you come back the next day and it's like, I've just had a mini holiday.
Yep.
We were really talking about this just before we started, about
we were.
mini holidays,
Yep.
right? So obviously we both got one coming up soon,
Yep.
and the excitement on our face when we were discussing it was like, this is unreal.
Yep.
And it only takes 4 days or
It's all
whatever.
It's all you need, man. Even if it's out of your normal neighborhood, just something. It could be just a couple of nights in Brisbane. I don't know, whatever it is to get away.
It doesn't even have to. It could be in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
From here to Surfers
Staycation.
Paradise is 10 minutes. Just a staycation.
Yeah, we quite often go to Kingscliff because we're on the Goldie, obviously.
Yep.
And 45-minute drive south, and it's beautiful. It feels like you're a million miles away from home, and
Yep.
you do 4 days. That's all you need. Just spend time with. I've got kids, so spend time with them and reset. Because as an entrepreneur, you're typically in the office dealing with every issue under the sun. Because at the end of the day, every issue is your issue.
Yep.
And it's really easy to get bogged down and get as an entrepreneur, you just want to keep working.
Yep.
So your family life can suffer, and your mental health can definitely suffer. I've definitely dealt with that.
Yep.
But
I think we're all guilty of it.
yeah,
There's
but
been some days where I've been here at 8 p.m. and you said, mate, go home. Can you leave the office? I'm like, I'm not done yet.
Recently I was sitting there watching TV briefly after eating dinner, and then my phone started going off. I'm like, what's going on? Bloody security cameras, and he's here polishing a Porsche. I'm like, what are you doing, mate? Like, go home.
Yeah.
But it's
go
a
home
testament.
when the job's done.
That's right. Some days you just have to get it done.
And that's it, man. Like, so it's like there's like non-negotiables sometimes, and there's other times where I say to my team, like, hey guys, I'm not, like I say to my PA, I'm not 100% today. I'm taking today off. Like, I'll even say that to my clients, like, you know, and I'm pretty open with, you know, my team about mental health and my clients too. And but yeah, no, I think, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human. Like, you know, that's important to note. You know, it's not sustainable, but I know it's each their own. I've definitely learnt that of taking care of myself, and it's a marathon, right?
Yeah, you got to figure out what works for you. Everyone's different.
Totally.
So you know.
Do you think that you being so open about those things and you know, showing real leadership in that space has like helped your business expand? Like, do you think, like you were saying, that you're very open with your clients about like, hey, I'll come back to you tomorrow about that. I'm not sort of switched on it right now. I'm not 100%. Do you think that's helped? Do you think that helps businesses these days in the modern world? Or
I think transparency, yes. Being, you know, operating honestly and ethically, yes. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, if you're not 100%, if you don't have the right gut feeling, don't do it. I've always believed in that, especially around like decision making, going into a meeting. I won't go into a meeting if I'm not 100%. I'll say, no, just either do it without me, or if I'm not going to add value in anything. Like, I think that's important. Just knowing those little signs, right, and acknowledging that. Yep. I think that's a superpower. But yeah, until then, like when I was young, dumb, and full of whatever, you just don't know. You just want to go, right? And then, I think, what am I now, 31, 32 soon. I think, it's life in general. It's just a journey, right? And you just, you just got to keep going and keep learning. So.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Speaking of having a little rest, you've given us a nice little gift there for Saturday.
Yeah, we normally give you the gift.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course.
Yeah. No,
just a bottle of orange juice,
it's just orange juice.
Just an OJ.
Yeah. I've actually got a question for you.
Yep.
What's your take on Andrew Tate's message? Not necessarily the, you know, what everyone claims him to be, but the message of like positive masculinity and the good that he's actually trying to do. Because I think he's obviously in a bit of hot water and been in the forefront of some controversial stuff, but some of his messages really resonate with me, at least. You know, like looking after family and women and all that sort of thing. Because obviously you've got yourself a wife, and you know, it's something that we've sort of been touching on a little bit just as a group off camera. How different men are, or young men are nowadays. You know, like I don't think I've ever seen a young man, you know, open a door for a female, or, you know, let a lady walk out the door first, or whatever it is. Chivalry, like that. You know, it's a massive thing that's sort of shifted, and there's been, you know, I don't really want to get into like the trans side of things with different genders or whatever. I'm talking more so just like men that are, you know, looking after the business, the family, holding the unit together.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on him?
Great question.
That was a friggin' long question.
I'm sorry. I'm dancing around the fact that...
No, that's okay. So firstly, I don't know a lot about Andrew Tate, so I can't really comment about him as a person or what he does. But it seems like I'm still quite young. It's hard to say. It's like back in my day sort of a thing. But I know I was brought up as a kid in my family to you know, do the right thing in life, treat my friends, family, partners with respect. I sort of I think it's important. I suppose maybe a generational thing. I don't know if it's changing. Like I know in our generation we're like what 30s, 20, 22.
22.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he's in Gen. What is
spot on.
Millennial, whatever you want to call that.
Great, man.
You're dealing with all walks of life, employees and you know, being out on site and stuff. So like the younger generation, like what are your thoughts on like the work ethic and those sorts of things? Because I like personally, I've like Matt and I have got a company together, Detail Matters, and we've really struggled the last 12, 24 months to get reliable staff.
Yep.
The ones that we've got are great, but the ones that, rock up and super keen at an interview and at an interview level, and then, oh, sorry, like after they've said yes, oh, sorry, something's come up or whatever it is. Like they're very flaky and not willing to put the work in. Have you experienced any of that?
Yeah, it's definitely an employee's market. I don't think COVID's helped. I found during COVID that was hard for businesses. We grew like 25% through COVID, took a pretty big financial hit. But, I think we had about 50 staff employed at the time. Myself and Lucy made a decision to keep all our staff and not pay ourselves for like 4 months and just ride it, right? And that was probably in the long run, was probably one of the best decisions to be made. I've always believed in having a team working together, collaborative.
Yep.
We're in and out at the same time. I've always believed that, and I think I'm glad we didn't do work from home.
Yep.
During that time, I think we went home once or something, but no, I haven't found a lot. I think I haven't had a lot of experience with the younger workforce at the moment. I think in another one of my businesses, there's been a couple come and go, but I think that's hospitality in general, right? Casual hospitality workforce. That's sort of it is sort of quite agile and at the moment it's a funny sort of space, but does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
You just mentioned a second ago in one of my other businesses.
Yep.
So we know you've got another project that's just recently launched.
Yes. Yeah.
Do
So
you want to give me a bit of an insight to that?
yeah, of course. So it's called the Bolo Bistro. So it's actually a little pub restaurant next to the Gold Coast Lawn Bowls Club. So pretty cool story behind it, actually. I might
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob's got it up there for the YouTube watchers
I
too.
haven't had a steak there yet, but I'm going tomorrow, and I'm keen as a bean.
pretty good.
Mate, I picked the most expensive steak on the menu.
Of course he did.
And holy moly.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I texted him. I was like, mate, top steak.
Well,
and he's like,
he
yeah.
knows what my taste buds are accustomed to, so I've got big expectations tomorrow.
Do you know what it was? We can see the menu just there.
Pete's sitting over here
I
going,
think it was the the Sanshoku Wagyu
the
strip loin.
strip loin, yeah. Oh
So,
my God, beautiful.
Yeah, that's a locally sourced Darling Downs. It's beautiful.
Yep.
yeah, nice.
Okay, context behind that. So I live in the area. I've been watching this sort of little space for about 2-3 years now, and I said to Lucy, I was like, I reckon I could turn this into a pretty cool place because in the area within like sort of 3-4 k's, there's no like pub or modern Australian restaurant, right? Where can you go to get a good steak and some seafood? And
it's in Broadbeach, Gold Coast too, for the viewers.
Yep. And so I was playing golf with a mate there about 3 months ago. And long story short, there's a Malaysian restaurant there. They got asked to leave, I think, with like 8 weeks notice. He's just playing golf. He said, "Oh, these guys are moving out. Do you know anyone that could run a restaurant or move in?" I was like,
"Well, just a scratch the head moment."
I was like, "Dude, catering, man. I've got a pretty decent sized catering experience.
I've got 100 staff."
I was like, "Yeah. I reckon I could give this a crack." So anyway, I got the president's number. Went in that afternoon for some beers with the committee. Had a couple more beers. I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a bit of a vision. I reckon we do this. But I was like, before I do that, what do you guys want? I just went out to the locals. What do you guys want?
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, maybe some steaks, maybe some fish and chips, burgers." I was like, "All right, cool. Give me a couple of days." Went away, did up a bit of a business plan presentation with the missus. Went back for some more beers.
Sick.
And they were just like, "This is great." And then after that, from that sort of stage, we did the whole business plan in like 2 days, pretty much. Presented to him. Did all the leases and all that up. And then within got the keys. We started in 2 weeks. Did all renos from start to finish. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
For the local community. So
I've been doing my kitchen for 6 months.
So did a whole fit out in 2 weeks. That was pretty good. And I think for us it's more about a local community engagement piece because for me and Lucy, it's all about giving back to the local community and really listening to what they wanted. The club itself has got a lot of history. It was 1966 was first opened. It was a females only bowling club, and there's a lot of history in that area. So I've put a few things in the menu, and also majority of our staff there are females. I think it's like 80-20 female to male.
Cool.
So my goal is there to really push that equality piece, and the locals are loving it so far. We've been open for 4 weeks, and just doing something bigger than me and Lucy was important to us, and That's where that came from. So
That's cool.
Unbelievable. Like you would not know that fit out's done in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it looks schmick. Like
2 weeks, man.
Yeah,
So yeah,
crazy.
we it was pretty wild, but like coming together with a vision with the local community and putting stuff together from, you know, some drawings on a paper to like just, yeah, it's pretty special, that. And so yeah, super stoked. I've been working there the last few weeks in the kitchen.
How did the grand opening go? I know we got invites to it, but I was out of, I was out of town with this dude. So
Where were we?
We were Kingscliff.
We were.
They weren't at the opening. That's
Yeah,
You know what?
It's fine, guys.
Yeah,
I was so
I texted him. I was like, "Yeah, man, keen as." And then
I was so close to saying,
you
mate,
got a
let's just
steak
duck
there
up
for
real
you.
quick for the day.
I had a steak ready for you, you know.
Yeah.
it's still there.
You guys will be there tomorrow.
going back
Yeah.
to it. Like, how did that grand opening go? Like,
Great.
good presents.
Yeah, fantastic. Like, had all friends and family. Yeah, it was quite surreal and be able to be there in my team, which is great. And yeah, so I know you guys are coming around tomorrow. So
Yep.
I think it's a cool space now. We're offering it for businesses, for birthday parties. Like there's barefoot bowls. There's you know, the bar next door where we're open 6 days a week. And
Yeah, nice.
so, yeah, I love the produce. Got some really good suppliers on board. So all my beef we supply from local Darling Downs, Northwest, straight from the farm. So I know Peter, someone here who loves a good Wagyu. So
Yep.
we've got some great steaks, all fresh seafood, locally sourced as well, all sustainable. And
So
Yeah.
can you actually explain the rules of barefoot bowls now? Because
Probably
that's
not.
been a very
I-
elusive topic for me for like years. Every time I go play barefoot bowls, I'm like, how do you play this? They're like, you just roll it down there and see what happens.
I think you just take your shoes off and just. I know there's a small on either side. There's a small circle and a big circle.
Yeah.
The small
circle
circle
on the
goes
inside.
inside. The large circle goes
Higgsy
on the
knows it. He's
outside.
got
Yeah,
the
I've done
grey
mine.
hairs coming
Yeah.
through.
But mate,
Hey, all right, just because I got my grey hair doesn't mean I fit in the community of bowls.
secretly Higgsy's like a bowl superstar.
No.
Yeah,
He's a
crackerjack.
He's a menace. Hey, I've been bowling and he turns it into battleship.
Higgsy.
Like it's dodge the missiles.
We're gonna go for lunch tomorrow. Higgsy's just gonna be out there bowling, like showing them all how it's done.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
So yeah, it's actually super fun. It's I don't know, it's super casual as well. Go there, you know, or not just where we are, but in general.
Yeah.
Bring your family, bring your mates, have some drinks, some food, and play some barefoot bowls. And I know a lot of corporate gatherings and companies are doing that as well for like team building events.
Yep.
It's pretty
Yep.
fun. But no, I'm sorry, I can't really tell you the nooks and crannies of how to play. But
Maybe we'll find a pro there tomorrow. Give some rundown.
Yep.
We'll get a coaching session.
Yeah. We'll have the cameras out there, so maybe we can find someone with some experience.
Yeah.
Have a little mini competition.
Yeah.
Higgsy
Higgsy versus the season
I'm
veteran.
just seeing the green already.
Just go and snake the season veteran. Like, yeah, I'll put 1,000 on this one. That was funny. I when I rang you the other night, I was like expecting you to answer the phone, and be like, oh yeah, I'm just lounging around home, successful businessman, just chilling at home with a glass of red at 6 p.m. And you're like, hello, who's this? And I was like, it's Ian. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the tours at the bowler. I've got to go. I'll call you back later. And I was like, what?
Well, you're really in the kitchen.
yeah, been in the kitchen.
Hell yeah.
I think it's important, man. All the business I've started, I've been there in the team with them from the start.
Hell yeah.
Building systems, processes, streamlining things. I think it's important in any business. I think the founder or the owner should be in there with the team getting it done. So yeah, that's the fun of it, right? That's like the trade I've got is cooking, and it's just like second nature for me. So
Yep.
I went there around there the other night. I was like, oh, we did something, and then I said, Lucy, I'm just going to go over there and cook. I jumped in the kitchen, like, what are you doing? The guys are like, what are you doing, Craig? I was like, yeah, I'm coming in to help. They're like, oh, they're like, no, go, we got this.
Yeah, because they're nervous.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I was on the grill the other
You
night on
drop that
steak.
fry. You
It's
drop
like-
one chip in the slow mo.
Yeah. But man, it's yeah. I take my hats off to my team or chefs in general in
Tough
hospitality.
gig.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard work, but it's very rewarding.
Yep.
Cooking and seeing people's smiles on their faces. And
Yeah. Can we actually talk about your chefs? How many have you got there for that restaurant?
at the bolo, I
Yeah.
think we've got 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
And someone manages that whole team.
Yeah. So we've got the restaurant manager there, Alice. She's awesome, front of house.
Yep.
I'm also using the space with my other team for like professional development. I'm going to do like master classes and bring some chefs in there, and we'll do cooking and for the other businesses. So it's a cool space I can leverage off.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it's just a cool place like for us to be able to like, oh hey, we've got a restaurant for the Supercar cruise. Just come in and have lunch. That's
Yep.
to me that's that's super special. And so I'm reaching out to the wider community and just offering that for people there and
that's
help where we can.
And tell us the story behind the tattoos.
Oh, mate, which ones?
Yeah.
Got a few.
Not the one on the lower back.
Yeah.
Don't have a tramp stamp, by the way. Let's just get that clear. Yeah, that's off. I've had tattoos since I was young. This one was here. That's pretty fresh. It's a bit of a story on, I suppose, my journey. I'm actually getting tattoo removal done. I'm getting a fair bit taken off.
See the hands getting taken off.
Yeah, I'm getting a fair bit done. So that was just when I was young.
This is all motorbike stuff, eh?
Yeah, all motocross stuff from my earlier days when I was racing motocross.
Yeah.
So getting a lot removed. I'm going to get a fresh new sleeve.
Does it hurt as much taking it off as it does putting it on?
Oh, dude, like 20 times.
Oh,
for me, 20 times. I don't know other people, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hand definitely hurts to get taken off. So that was another thing. I mean, I had all hand tattoos in business, corporate. I was always doing like board meetings, and I'd always put my hands out in front of me to talk. Like I've got nothing to hide. I think it's super important. I got to a point. This is actually a good story about this. I got to a point where I was like, everyone was just like, looking, and like, I was like, you know what? I'm just getting it removed. I'm just, and I know that I shouldn't do that because I'm, tattoos just an accessory. But I think since I got that done, but I'm getting the whole sleeve done anyway. So, but that was just something. I think. Myself, like Lucy's got tattoos too. She's got a sleeve. We was like, she couldn't get a job in a bank as a banking manager because she had tattoos.
It's probably a good thing though, because look where you're at. With you're forced to go and do everything yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. So like I'm sort of super proud of all that, but it's just funny, like especially tattoos these days. They are just an accessory. A lot of people have got them, especially in business and all sorts, and hospitality. Man, I don't know a chef that doesn't have a tattoo.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because there's plenty of venues around that don't let you in if you do have visible tattoos, particularly if there's something on your neck or your face. I mean, I think that's a bit rough. Like, I know that there's some tattoos define people as part of certain clubs and things like that, which is a bit of a grey area. But it's like you said, it's an accessory, right?
It's all in context as well. What you're doing, where you're going. Like I remember in a nightclub. This is a funny story. About 7-8 years ago, I had to put foundation to get into a nightclub in Broadbeach, and then the bouncer's like, just go cover that up. I don't care. I was like, okay, curl up, and just it's just funny, I laugh at that. But I actually haven't been to a nightclub in a long time. I don't think.
Nah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's tomorrow, bro.
There's one tomorrow.
This is Andy's nightclub.
Yeah, I was going to say this.
This is nothing. Me and Mr. Higgs were just in Vegas last year for SEMA.
Yeah.
And
that was amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it just happened to line up perfectly with one of our friends, Simon from Culture Kings.
Mr. Culture Kings.
Yeah, we were there for the launch of their biggest shop in America in Caesar's Palace, and the after party was at this nightclub called what was it? Omnia.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my god! Like if you think the clubs in Australia are good,
pretty wild.
Oh my, like
it's ridiculous.
Next level. Like put it this way. This is like
that's the one that has a snowflake machine inside.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. It was like being at a festival.
Yeah.
But it was on a Monday night we went just to suss the place out because we had Jai, our videographer, with us. We were like, I wonder if we can get a camera in here and just because we needed to film some of the stuff for Culture Kings, and we're like, we'll just have a quiet one and go and have a look. And we walked outside at the lineup and we're like to Mr. Bouncer Man, I'm like, hey, how many's inside? Because it looked pretty quiet. He's like, like 3,500. I was like, whatever. Like, no way. And
on Monday night.
On a Monday night. So we're like,
School night.
Yeah, we're like, whatever. Like, we're going in.
It's like the Vegas clock. It just
Well, Martin Garrix is playing on a Monday night. So this isn't just like, the dude we pluck from the street to go and just fill a set. Like, this is a massive name DJ.
Wild, eh?
And the place was packed.
Yeah.
Like, put it this way, the entry, there's like a little a mini club basically in the front. And we were like, me, Jai, and Matt were like looking around, like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. The guy was lying. There's definitely not 3,000 people, but this is cool. And then there's a little sign on the wall saying main club. We're like, oh, what's that?
Walk down a little corridor, and
it's like like 3 levels.
Multi-levels.
3 levels.
Super club.
Oh, my. Like,
that's like a beta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes off like every night, like and with like massive DJs.
Yeah.
It was insane. So, yeah, we can't go to any nightclub anywhere in Australia anymore because we'll just be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same as a Ibiza. I think I was going like 4 or 5 years in a row at one point. just as a holiday, of course.
Yeah.
Just, this is great. And
mental health holiday.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the clubs there, man, like, crazy. I couldn't imagine, the partying.
Yeah.
So,
But it was
good.
So have you been to Vegas?
no, never been.
Wow.
I need to get over there.
Put it on
Yeah.
your bucket list.
You need to do SEMA.
Yeah.
If you're a car guy, you need to get yourself to SEMA.
Yeah.
It's,
We'll have to
it's
get over
incredible.
there. We'll do a boys trip.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't say boys trip to Vegas.
No.
It's dangerous.
He's shivering already.
Yeah.
Someone will get a
I'm
Mike
still
Tyson
scarred.
tattoo, won't they? Someone will get kidnapped and then
Hey, I've got to shoot, Craig, but I'm going to tap Peter Moriarty in, who's jumped on the team as well behind the scenes, but now he's going to be in the hot seat. Cool. But yeah, it's
Thanks,
good to see you, bro. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, cheers,
and we'll catch up.
Sure.
I'm keen to hear the big news that's we might be able to announce on another podcast sometime.
Cheers, mate.
Too easy, man.
Thanks.
This is the first time that anyone's seen Pete on the podcast camera. So Pete Moriarty, epic entrepreneur, founder of IT Genius, and loves his steaks. So he'll sure be able to have a good chat to you about that. Too easy. Catch you guys.
Thanks for having me, boys.
No worries.
Just saw a little meme on Instagram the team were passing around in the background, and it said that in the old days when you had tattoo sleeves, it used to mean that you were a bikie, and now it means that you're a chef who can do a nice pork belly with a balsamic dressing.
That's exactly
Sounds
it,
like
Marilla.
exactly you. Oh, wait, let's do that one. Do that one again.
Can do a good pork belly.
Yep.
Oh.
While I was off to the side, I actually had one question for you. I was curious. I think you kind of skipped over the scaling up part of the business.
Yep.
So I'm really curious about your entrepreneurial journey. And the business started. You started bringing on some clients.
Yep.
You're now at a couple of hundred staff. What was that journey like?
Yeah. It's been a very, it's definitely opened my eyes. So started by myself and my wife. That was about the first year. Yeah, so first year was like $7,000 turnover. Year 2 was like $350K.
Wow.
Year 3 we then went up to I think 800 or 900. Year 4 I think it was like 1 point blah blah, and then move on. Yeah, we're sort of sitting on close to 22 million turnover this year.
And how did you fund that scale?
All been
Was
self-funded.
that bootstrapped?
Yeah, just bootstrapped it, man. We all went out. So zero capital, zero investors from the
insane.
start. Yeah, so we pretty much used all our own capital to grow the business. It's been a pretty wild ride. And yeah, we've gotten through some patches like COVID. Started in a downturn, got through COVID, and now going through pretty much like a recession, you could call it. But we're really we're going all out and scaling hard. So, hiring people hasn't been a problem for us now. The market's opening up, especially in hospitality and what we do. The stuff we do as well, we don't do major sites. We do sort of like exploration, construction. We get into the early stage, which is like lead generation, which then goes on to bigger sites. So life cycle of our contracts are quite long term.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, we figured out, our little niche in what we do as a business. Engaging with local suppliers is a big thing. Costs more money, yes. Does it take longer? Yes. But
Is it worth it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's unheard of out there because you're in a what's called a donga, which is like a demountable building, which is an absolute piece of shit.
Yep.
And you're doing long, hard days, and you're isolated.
Yep.
I imagine like coming back to a chocolate on the bed and the air conditioner on.
I would love that.
That's luxury.
just all those little things
Yeah.
that I've been out into and just done research on and figured, what these crews need, because we want to treat it like a remote hotel.
Yeah.
And just because you're working FIFO doesn't mean you should have packet mashed potato and packet eggs. And actually this is funny. So we're first company in Australia as of 6 months ago to launch Starlink in the industry. So pretty special that.
Really?
Don't tell anyone that. Launch Starlink across our sites. That's a game changer for, people to call their families, FaceTime.
Yep.
Stay connected.
Pretty much stay connected. All our sites are digital. So I've launched all our own software for iPads for reporting. So that's been super good to stay connected with our teams across the country. And that's another, added value for our customers is to have that, that just cool, piece of equipment there that we can add value. So
Yeah. The value adds are where it all adds up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all those little 1%ers I say to the team that we do every day, Instead of doing a 200-gram steak, we'll do a 300-gram, Scotch fillet or cook to order. We'll get fresh seafood in for Friday for seafood nights. It's like all the little things that we know that's important
Oh,
to
right.
our customers.
Better than we hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't stop for lunch sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the fridge in the background. There's a half-eaten tub of hummus there from 3 days ago.
guilty.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Probably.
So I'm curious, like, as the business has scaled, I assume your leadership has had to change along the way. You would have had a personal development journey as that's happened. What's that been like?
Incredible, crazy, scary. I'm going through a little bit of a transition right now from like the founder, director, CEO to stepping back and letting my team execute now. I just work on
So you have a CEO in or like an operations manager?
General manager.
Yep,
Yep.
GM.
So he drives. So I'm just driving growth and business development, customer relations, and it's sort of I'm hiring the right people, stepping back, let them do their jobs, and just aligning with my vision. I think that's like Richard Branson said, just, man, if you've got a vision, get the right people on board, give them whatever resources you can give them, get, and just step back. I'm having a good crack at that. So, no, it's been an incredible journey, Peter, and I'm still very heavily invested with my wife, Lucy. We're the major shareholders still, so we own 100% of the company.
Amazing.
And we're on a fantastic trajectory, and so a lot of these like tier 1 clients, like Shell, they're sort of eyeing us off. We're working with Shell now, and a couple other big players have just approached us. So it's pretty cool. We're like the little giants, you could call us in the space, which,
That's super cool.
It's a good flex.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't want to be the biggest or the best, but I want to be a leader in that field. So that's why I like the little giants. And we know what our core capabilities are. We know what our mission is. We just
now it's time to send it.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
What does the big vision look like?
The big vision. I mean, the vision's always been there to be a leader in the hospitality sector. We'll get to a point where the end goal will sort of be, probably an acquisition. If someone comes along and says, how much do you want, right? So I've had a bit of interest at the moment. We've been approached about 3 times, but we've turned it down. So
What's your number?
Big.
It's got 8 figures to it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, we love it, right? We'll keep going until we know when it's time. I think we'll get to a point in the business where we either need to hand it over to other people to take it on and grow that. Because this is quite new to me to be running a big company this size, So, but again, this is a journey for me. And, I'm also doing a law degree as well. I'm at law school. So that's also, I'm leveraging off that degree to put into my business practice as well.
Excellent.
So
what about like mentors and advisors? Like who do you have around you?
Yeah, I've got some, definitely got some close friends and family. Like my family's been in business. Like one of my uncles, he just sold his company for, I think it was like 420 million last year. He started with nothing 12 years ago. So he's been sort of guiding me a bit there on what he's done and having a close community. But I've never really had like a mentor or a coach or stuff. I think especially in business, this is my philosophy. I think if you're going to do it, you need to do it yourself and learn. I think mentors and that are great to guide you, but I've never had a coach of stuff, of such to coach me on what to do. I think I've fucked up. I've learnt from those fuck ups, and I think
they generally cost money.
Well, yeah. Do it once. Yep. Do it twice. Or yeah. So and I think just surrounding yourself with the right people, these guys, and that's sort of been helpful because it does get lonely. Like you probably know, it gets lonely.
We say that all the time as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is a lonely space.
Yep.
And you're lucky that your wife's involved, and I'm in the same boat there.
Yep.
And without your partner, you'd probably be a bit lost.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing it, without Luce, my partner. We're great, we've got our relationship, then we've got our work-life balance, or there's no such thing as a work-life balance.
How do you find that at home?
Well, it's crazy. At home, we switch off. We've just learnt strategies to switch off, unless it's like urgent, an emergency, someone's, whatever. But no, it just works, and I think, we've been together 10 years now, and she's been
sick of you, yeah.
Yeah, no. We know we're good at strengths and weaknesses, and like in the relationship, and it's just some people say you're fucking crazy, but we've made it work, and I've got other mates, you know, like, I suppose Simon and Tani, a couple in business, and if you can make it work,
it's the best, eh?
It's the best experience, man. It's been an incredible journey, and to be able to do that with your partner, your life partner, is pretty cool. And you just, I don't know, you just get each other right. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I want to know about one of those fuck ups. Tell us a juicy one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, this is a good one. During COVID, actually, Lucy, if you're listening to this story, you'll understand.
Does she know?
She knows.
She's like, that's where their money went.
Yeah.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah, Chief Financial Officer. So during COVID, we had to do, obviously, I think I was talking about before about keeping the team employed, you know, just riding the wave out, and an opportunity popped up in WA in not a little place called Kalgoorlie. Heard of that? It's like a gold mining town. So yeah, I had a few dealings there in the past, and an opportunity popped up to run a 250 person mining camp, like a big camp. I was like, fuck, let's do it, you know, and all the numbers lined up. We're like, yep, this is great, you know. And we jumped onto it right in the middle of COVID. I actually got a letter from the police commissioner of WA. This is the same time that Clive Palmer was trying to travel through. Clive, if you listen to this is funny. He got turned down, and I got let through. So I thought, anyway, that's my little fame there. But yeah, so we took a job on. It was outside our core capabilities. We need to do it to keep people employed, drive revenue. Long story short, numbers were meant to be sitting at about 200 people, 180 people a day. On average, it was about 30 to 40 people a day.
Oh, no.
So I had all contracts in place, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, that just turned to absolute shit. We're losing like 70 grand a month over about 4 or 5 months. So I managed to pull out of the contract. So yeah, that was a huge, but then again, if I didn't do that contract or that particular project, I wouldn't have known, right? So I think that's important to go down that stage.
Now you know what not to do.
Now I know what to do, man. Yeah, and just stick to what you're good at, right? I think that's important in business. Like I've had a lot of opportunities pop up, and then I've just had to listen to my gut feeling. Just do one thing, do it good, like real well.
Has it changed your approach for like new projects that are in your game? Like have you changed like your contract strategy or anything along those lines?
Yes and no. I think like we've diversed a fair bit throughout the business into labour hire, accommodation, but it's all catering, it's all people, it's all hospitality. So although we've diversified, we've de-risked a bit and opened up our opportunities and branched out. Yeah, I think it's more awareness. I think having those things happen, it's more of an awareness thing and just knowing like, oh fuck, stuff on this, don't do that again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that can go wrong in a business, and you know, so many unforeseen things pop up. You're like, man, like I didn't think of that. Yeah,
I think that's another thing is like, you guys probably appreciate, you know, you go in good intentions.
Yep.
You go in, you know, to add the most amount of value you can. At the end of the day, it's a business. You need to make sure that bottom line's healthy, and I've definitely learned that of saying no. We say no so much right now, only because we know what we're good at, we know who we want to work with, and we know who our end user, what they should receive in services. So that was the biggest thing. You know, I always said yes to a lot, right? Because you need to drive revenue. Sales is the core of a business.
It's the oxygen, yeah.
Yep. And now to be in a position where we're saying no, we're just working on, you know, the right projects that are, you know, profitable, that are employing people, giving back to the local community. Yep.
And how do you manage quality control when you've got staff out there on site? You know, you're not necessarily next to them. You can't look over their shoulder.
Yep.
How do you manage that? And is that something that you've got anxiety about, like how things are being delivered when you're not around?
I think trust. I think just trusting your team and just, you know, knowing that giving them the initiative, giving them the right resource and say, hey guys, it's okay to fuck up, make mistakes. We all do. But no, I think that was the biggest thing as we're scaling now. You know, I think we need to hire an extra 36 people in the next couple of months. You know, I paused recruitment last week because I wasn't happy with the process and, you know, what was going on. We fully just paused it. So guys, stop, go back, let's fix it, let's go again. So being able to, you know, push the pedal and push the brakes is important. I'm teaching my team that too. And I think going back to that question, Peter, about quality, look, you can put all like the procedures, the process systems in place, but if your people aren't aligned in what you're doing, then so going back to just having the right people to align there. So, I suppose I'll let you guys know in 6 months or 12 months how we go.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I think it's one of those things as you grow, more people, they say more problems, but it's all in context what you're doing. But we're quite lean in our head office business. We've only got 10 or 12 people. Yep. The rest is spread across the country, cooking and cleaning and.
So I'm quite lucky. I've actually got my my CFO and my head of people in the audience here in the studio, and we spend a lot of time trying to recruit the right people through culture, through finding out what their values are. I'm curious if that's something that you're very intentional about with the people that you bring on, and if so, like, what are the values and what's the culture that you're looking for with the people that you're bringing in?
Great question.
Because if you just trust them and they've got different values, they're probably not going to do what you want. There must be something you're doing in the middle to have the right people in there that you can trust.
Yeah, I think it goes back, going back to personal values, right? What you eat, sleep, and breathe, and
what are they for you?
Yeah, so for me, that's integrity, honesty, innovation, teamwork. That's part of our core values in our business. So I think that's important. It's funny. I've had mates had this conversation with me, and a lot of people are doing the opposite. They're hiring not for like value driven in a company, hire the opposite and then mold them. And I've found that works as well, right? We've gone on a limb and just hired a couple of people we thought, oh no, and then just given them a chance. So, man, I wish I had that magic round ball to say this is what it's all different, and the market's changing, and like, that's a really good question. Again, I don't have the answer, but I'll definitely, that's my goal, is to figure it out as my journey is to keep going and keep learning and growing. So, what are your thoughts, Peter?
Well, my experience has been if there is a strong culture inside the business, the rest of the team will police that culture.
Yep.
Whether that's whether it's positive or negative, the team are going to police it. So you throw someone in, they're either going to adjust to the existing culture that is inherent in the business, or they're going to filter themselves out and go, nah, this ain't my tribe. See you later. I'm going to go. I'm curious for you guys here, like, how would you define the culture in Detail Matters or in Pro Eagle or your other businesses?
I think Detail Matters is an interesting one.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments in the last 12 months where me and Matt have looked at each other and we're like, what have we built? Like, we've just like, we've got some absolute weapons working for us, and in
a good way, not in a bad way.
No, in a good way. Yeah, absolutely.
It actually goes both ways.
Well, actually,
I will.
Depending on the day, bipolar, right?
Yeah. No, we've had both extremes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we won't talk about one of the extremes, but on the top end, which all of our guys fall under, man, we've come across some unbelievable talent and young guns that are absolutely driven just to be the best, do the best, and because we have a franchising model, so they've bought franchises and they're pushing our brand, and man, like I get messages all the time. Hey, I saw you today driving around. I was like, oh, it's not me, one of the boys, and it's growing so quickly. We're getting inquiries flat out to sell more franchises, but one thing that we've learnt within that particular business is be a little bit more picky about who we allow to represent the brand, because it's
to start with, like you said, it's just sales in the door, right? You got to do things to get things done, but we learn from mistakes and have to improvise and adapt to the problems.
Yeah, then eventually $20 is not just $20 anymore.
No. Yeah. We've got some doozies, which we'll talk about off camera, but...
I think you should talk about them on camera. Don't mention names.
Straight in, Peter.
Yeah. I think the vetting process for us has been the most important thing.
Yeah.
And like Matt was saying at the start, we were so eager just to get numbers on the board, just to get the thing rolling, that we didn't do enough due diligence. And it turned out to be, a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, and cost us money, a lot of time, a lot of pain. Matt and I have never argued about it. We've always seen eye to eye with everything, basically, which has been good. Maybe not. But now, like, we've got exponential growth. Like we've got more work than what we know what to do with.
Absolutely. We're trying to find more people rapidly. So that's a big problem in this industry.
Yeah.
So if you're listening right now, you
slide into
can
my DMs.
dial 1300 or just slide into Matt's DMs and you can apply to be a Detail Matters franchisee.
Get the website.
Thank you to our sponsor, Detail Matters.
Detail Matters, detail-matters.com. But yeah, we are hiring flat out at the moment. We've got a lot of new clients on. We're actually doing some stuff in the aviation industry.
Cool.
Doing some pre-delivery stuff for Cirrus and
got
which
a pretty
is
good contract there, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've but yeah, like the hiring process.
I liked what you said. Sorry to jump in, but I liked what you said before about bringing people in and molding them to make them suit what's expected of the company. I know that wasn't particularly in your model, but you were talking about it just a moment ago. We've had that here too, because not everyone will have like the eye for detail or the patience to do the job. But we've had people that just kept nagging, saying, "I know you're hiring. I want to be in." And I'm like, "Sorry, you don't suit." But they keep coming back, and then you're like, "All right, I'll give the guy a shot." Yeah. Turn out to be one of the best guns we've got.
And there's trade-offs there, right? They might not fit the bill exactly, but you mold them and give them a chance.
Yeah.
And there's they say hire for altitude, not attitude, or vice versa. And I think it's all in context again in different businesses what you're after. But we found a lot on the Gold Coast, especially in our like white collar head office staff. I've hired a lot of admins, and just given them a red hot crack and then put them through professional development. They've been they've been just like 5-6 years now, man. And they've put trust in me. I've believed in them, and that's the biggest thing when you're employing someone. And it's a hard market. Like you've really I don't know. Sometimes I wish I had the answer. My recruitment team, that's a hard game, recruiting, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a challenging job.
Do you use like gut instinct quite a lot with that?
Yeah. If I'm sort of involved in certain hiring, we always try and do face-to-face or Zooms. That's important.
Yep.
Yeah,
finding the right representative. Like I'll give it a shout out. One of our guys, Hayden, he's an absolute weapon. Super young dude, go getter.
He's top bloke, Hayden.
Oh yeah, you know Hayden. Yeah, he's been on.
He does a lot of work for you.
Supercar. Oh, he does. Yeah, does your car and been on the supercar rallies with us, and he's a little weapon. Super eager all the time. He's building businesses flat out. So yeah, he's one of our favourites.
I'm curious. Do you guys put any of your new recruits through like trials or initiations?
Absolutely.
When you say initiations, like
to join the tribe,
sending them out.
Yeah. You brand them. What are the initiations?
Like a steak brand.
Yeah, we might have had one of those today in another business.
So we have one in our business. So we've got a remote business. We've got a large team. Everyone works at home.
Yep.
And when everyone's isolated and probably not going to meet each other until once a year, we fly everyone into the same city and do a big hangout. But it costs us tens of thousands of dollars to do that because we've got 60 odd people.
Yep.
They're working from home, and so one of our initiations is every fortnight we've got basically a team hangout. It's like a big team catch up.
Yep.
We all jump on one Google Meet. We play some games. We hang out, drink a few beers, order pizza, whatever. And it's like the virtual version of like Friday night drinks.
Yep.
And so we get the new recruits, and this is going to be a problem if anyone's listening and they want to work for us because it'll ruin the surprise. Am I allowed to share it, or should I keep it a secret? Yes. All right. I'm being given the okay by my recruiter and CFO off camera, just in case Scott, our CEO, hears this. But anyway, we take the new recruits and we put them on this group call, and they're in front of the whole company, right? And they've just started. It's their first week, and they have to show off a talent.
No way.
They can sing, they can rap, they can rhyme, they can dance. Doesn't matter what it is. But we don't tell them beforehand.
Yeah.
We just say, hey, this is going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
And then we say, all right, you're up. And, they're terrified,
Yeah.
right? They're terrified. It's like, it's trial by fire. But the point there is everybody in that room has had to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone in that room's been initiated. We've all had to go through it.
Good icebreaker.
It's a good icebreaker.
Yeah.
But if they get through it, the respect that they earn from the 50 or 60 people that are on that call is awesome. And then next week we hire someone else, and they're like, "Ha, sucker! I did it last week. Welcome to the club."
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah. So like team sort of hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all in it together. We're all doing this. Yeah, it's great.
It's kind of like war veterans showing their scars. Like, I was in NAM, man. Same kind of thing. I was in IT Genius in 2020. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. So you do a bit of like team building sort of stuff with a lot of your team.
Yeah, look, as much as we can, like what sort of Peter's said, and we jump on all those calls probably weekly. We get the team together as much as we can, head office, field staff. We do as much as we can logistically as well, because there's people working 24/7 across the country. There's always someone flying, always someone sleeping, always someone working, or always someone not working. So logistically it's like Christmas parties. We're always trying to, accommodate and always giving the guys shout outs for birthdays, incentivizing and just like years of service. We always, do a little plaque and a shout out and all those things. I think it's important to recognize.
It goes a long way.
It goes a long way, man.
Seriously does.
So, taking the team for lunch once a week, doing coffee. It's all these little things. I call them micro incentives. I've never been the person to like do big. Here's a check for this much. It's like how, it's all these little things that they do appreciate. And I think our team, I'm sure if they're listening, appreciate that. I hope so. So
we'll ask them tomorrow.
Just treat them as people, man. Like, we're all human and they know you care. It goes a long way, and tenfold they'll give back, 110%.
How do you manage things operationally if you've got someone who's always on a plane, someone who's always on, someone who's always off? How do you manage the execution of the operations of the business? Because that, if you can't get everyone on the same meeting because there's always someone doing different things, how do you handle the internal communication, like all the the boring stuff that has to make the business work?
Yeah, this would be a good, great time for the team we're here as well. But just having good systems, good processes in place. Having the right people, contingency planning is always that there, right? Because
good planning.
Good planning.
I haven't heard of that. What is that concept? Do you guys know what that is?
Planning. I think strategy. Yeah. But no, like different time zones. There's always something. There's a lot happening. But I think, I think that just goes back to just us knowing and having that background knowledge of us doing it as well. A lot of my head office team, we've all been chefs. We've all done FIFO. It's a second nature, and we've built that business around our people centric business, and always learning every day. There's always something we can improve on. We can always get feedback from the team, from the customers.
And it sounds like the strategy is very much like hire people who've been there, done that, who know what they're doing, and let them do their thing.
Let them do
Get
their
out
job.
of their way.
Get out of the way.
Let them do their thing.
Totally, man. And even new stuff, like we're hiring some new recruits fresh out of apprenticeships, and I'm getting them out FIFO to experience that. That's been really well received. It's not for everyone, so sort of bringing a new generation of staff through into remote hospitality is what we're trying to do, and that's been quite well received. So,
awesome. Well, we need to start getting to the end of it. We need to wrap it up. So we typically ask at the end of the podcast. What advice would you give to a young, inspiring entrepreneur? Considering your story, you started super early.
Slinging shit.
Literally slinging shit.
Yeah. What advice would you give?
Shit as well.
He's still selling. He hasn't stopped.
Still selling bags.
Yeah. I'm actually
Hey, this is the Gold Coast.
I think never give up. Just no matter what people say, no matter what comes your way, just never give up. Yep.
Good.
That's been my motto, and keeping myself awake nights, knowing just if you've got a vision and you just relentlessly pursuing that vision, it's like law of attraction, man. The more you think about it, the more you put it out there, the more you speak of it, the more you put yourself in front of it, like it'll happen. And I think that's been a big thing. Just never giving up.
Yep.
So.
I can resonate with that for sure. Some days you just like,
yeah. And that's like it just in life. I think it's just, it could be personal development, business. It could be relationships. Just be relentless, be resilient, and stay true to, I suppose, who you are and what you're doing.
Yep. And if your goal is a white R8, there's nothing wrong with that. Strive for it.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. One day you'll get it.
Yep. Definitely.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Well, certainly
advice.
appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate your time.
We'll do a bit of a walk around the car from here and check it out. And yeah, you've got a couple of different things on it. You've got an exhaust, bits and pieces.
Yeah, I've got a couple of wheels on it.
A couple of wheels. I hope you got 4.
got some wheels.
Yeah, no, we heard it coming a little while away. She's a bit rowdy, so we'll jump off this and go check it out.
Yeah, cool.
Done.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
And thanks for tuning in.